Hello, my name is Andy Biggs from Arizona's 5th Congressional District. Today is Memorial Day in 2020, and we are so glad you would take a few moments with us as we remember our nation's heroes today. Last year, I introduced a piece of legislation to rename the Southeast Veterans Affairs Healthcare Clinic, which is located in Gilbert, Arizona, after U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Alexander W. Conrad. This legislation is endorsed by Veterans of Foreign Wars, Department of Arizona, Vietnam Veterans of America, Arizona State Council, and Concerned Veterans for America, Arizona. And I think it's so important to tell you just a little bit about Staff Sergeant Conrad. On June 8th, 2018, Staff Sergeant Conrad of Chandler died in Somalia from injuries sustained from indirect enemy fire while he was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group in support of Operation Octave Shield. His service includes 2 tours in Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, and he was posthumously awarded the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star with Valor, and Meritorious Service Medal. Now that's what you know about his military service, but everybody who makes that sacrifice and goes into the service to defend this country and protect our freedoms and other people, they have their own lives. They've lived their lives. They have other interests. They have other talents and gifts, and they make that sacrifice. So I'm joined today by Roy Conrad, the father of Staff Sergeant Conrad. Roy, thanks for being with me. And tell us a little bit about your son, Alex.
Alex was, I like to say he was kind of like a little guy in a giant's world. Okay, he had an unbelievable heart. He was very open. He could just about interact and make friends anywhere. And so he was just willing to always to give that extra mile for anybody that needed it. For example, when he was growing up, even as a young toddler, I tease my daughter about it all the time because his personality was so open that we'd be at the playground, and my daughter's a little bit, kind of a little bit an introvert a little bit, and so she's to herself and not really very kind of shy to meeting people. Well, Alex was just the opposite. He would go to the park and he would go and find friends for everybody, and just could walk up and he could just interact with somebody very easily. And build up that camaraderie, that friendship with them. And then that's how my daughter met a lot of her friends, was through Alex. Because of his personality, even he would go out and find friends for everybody and make sure that everybody was taken care of and happy and stuff. But he was a type of, even as a young child, he would interact with everybody in the neighborhood. And, he'd think nothing of being at a neighbor's house, sitting on their counter there and having ice cream with one of the neighbors and stuff. So that's when he was littler. But as he progressively got older, when he grew up and stuff, he still carried that personality with him. And he really enjoyed being involved in sports. He wasn't a great athlete, but he tried. He had the determination to just keep going on and on and on. And I teased him all the time because when he played football in high school, and he was a kicker because he wasn't really a big guy, but he still got in there and tried and stuff. And they did this kickoff return, and the runner had kind of broken through the front lines. And then so Alex ran right up there, and he was going to make the tackle on this running back. And the guy was quite a bit bigger than Alex. And so Alex said he made the initial contact and slowed him up. And then the rest of the team came in to converge and make the final tackle. But what was so funny about it was when the rest of the team got there, Alex somehow, you see the pile start forming, and Alex was thrown out of the pile. How that happens to me, just hit him and whatever. But I tease him about it because he did his job. He's got the guy stopped for everybody else to get there, and then they took over. And he carried that on as he went through life, and as he progressively got older. And he was always there. He was always willing to help, and he had that very demeanor with him that he could break the ice with people and get people to relax, and then he could work through them. So he was, and I reflected, going back to his job in the military and stuff, and that's why he was so successful at what he did. because he could correspond and was very, just the way that he could open up to people and stuff. But I say he's a little guy in a giant's world because his heart was that giant. And he would be in there and he would go through and try projects that were much bigger than what he could handle. But he tried anyway. And he worked them the best that he could. And then he got the support that he kept it going and make the project a successful project.
So that's great. That's I remember at the funeral hearing about his football exploits as a kicker, and that was fun that you recounted that. So tell me why he felt so inclined to join the service, join the Army, and give so much to this country.
There was a lot of things when he was going through high school, and kind of like a lot of guys in special operations, their attention spans are not there. So it was either go to college or go to the Army. Okay. And I'm a veteran. My dad's a veteran. Alex's mom's dad is also a veteran. We all went in the Army. We're all soldiers. In fact, at home, I have a big sign that says, with the American flag on it, and over the top of it, it says, "We are soldiers." And it's got our basic training pictures all the way across from Alex, from my dad, myself, and Alex, and then Alex's brother. We're all sitting there with our basic training photos. So it's kind of a really neat picture, but we're a family of soldiers. And so he had that background with him anyway. He wasn't quite ready to go to college when he was getting out of high school. And so, but he did some research and found the career jobs that were in the military. And he was fascinated with intelligence. And as he learned more about it, and especially when he got into the service and did his time in there, he became really excited about the intelligence community and kind of kept building on that. So that's kind of why he ran into the Army. And then, like I said, once he got in, he was really enjoyed it. The way things are working out, like when he went on his first tour in Afghanistan, he got to work with some of the teams and go out there and actually go out in the field, not being stayed back, but being out there in the front lines and interacting with the local. So again, going back to Alex's personality, he loved to work with the underdogs, and but he had that dynamic, open personality. He loved to learn about different cultures and stuff. And I explained to him also about, you can travel and see the world, okay? But when you do it as a military, you see the world in a whole different perspective. And that really got him excited too. And he really did take advantage of the opportunities to go to see different cultures. He spent time in France, he spent time in Germany. Of course, he spent time in Afghanistan, he spent time in Africa, but he did more than just go there and just hang out. He interacted with the people. And part of his job in there was that he did go and interact with the community leaders and find out what their needs are and what he could do to help them out. He jokes around because he told me one story that in one of his tours in Afghanistan, he kind of built a rapport with them. And to get information, you share information or you provide things that other people need, and they will give you information in return. Well, money is easy, okay? But in some of those communities, simple things like gasoline is a problem. And so they have their cars there, but they have no way to operate them. So he jokes around and he says, yeah, I'm talking to these guys and they were going to give me this information. I told them, if they give me the information, I'll give them some gas. But they have to show up with the container to carry the gas in. This guy showed up at the traffic cone, put his hand on the bottom, turned it upside down, and Alex filled it up with gasoline, and that's how he had his gasoline. And so that's how he worked with these communities. I mean, they weren't perfect, but he made it so we could get something that could work out with them. And that's what he loved to do. And it inspired him to keep going more and do more and more with that. So with those wonderful interactions.
That's great. And we're grateful for his service, but also for your whole lineage of people who've served this country. That's fantastic. And for just briefly, where did you serve? What did you do, Roy?
I was with the military police, and I was stationed down in Panama in the 1980s.
Yeah, thank you for your service. So you got to see some of the world as well. So that's
Yes, and I know even though I was in a couple of years, and I tell my boys that um, just being a veteran. I mean, you look in the stories and many people that talk about their military careers. When they start talking about it, you would think they were in 30, 40, 50 years when they start talking, because it's an exciting part of their life. And it was definitely an exciting part of my life. And Alex also, when we go back to DC, along the mall, especially the World War II memorial, there's always a couple of World War II veterans there. And Alex loved to talk to those guys and just to hear, and I'd love to hear their war stories and stuff too. And it's fascinating to hear the experiences that veterans have, that we have, because you don't experience that any other way. You know, the things that we got now, granted, there's some downtime, but there is just some things that are just unbelievable out there that veterans experience when they go on their tours and stuff, that you won't ever have that opportunity to experience in the civilian world.
Yeah, that is for sure. That's true. That's true as can be. Well, you know, so Alex gave the full measure, and so in the manner that he did it in his service, we're trying to, and hopefully the week that this airs, hopefully we will get a vote on it in the House of Representatives. We're really pushing hard for that, and maybe it'll happen. I'm hopeful. But tell me what it would mean to you and your family if we were able to get the legislation through to rename the Southeast Veterans Center in honor of your son, Alex.
I think it'd be awesome. Alex grew up in that area. You know, my brother just lives right down the street there. I've walked by it many times. My dad would like to go and use the services there. He's talked about going there for some of his VA benefits there. But just to see Alex's name and having a permanent marker in our community, you know, that'd be really awesome. Just so that we continue to remember him, and our community remember him for what he did and for who he is, and how he stands there. He was, you know, even though he was young when he left the area there, but he really was involved in a lot of areas there. He went to Hamilton High School. He went to junior high there, elementary school right there in Chandler, all in that area. My family lives all in that area. So he still has a lot of friends and stuff, and his veterans start to come back. And some of them, Alex's friends and Alex's brother, Jacob, also, he's a veteran too. We have these friends that are all veterans that would be utilizing those services, and then it'd be exciting to see, hey, yeah, we still remember Alex every day as we go there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a great symbol for everyone else, an inspiration too. So Alex's life and his service are inspirational. And I think it's just so critical that we get it done. And so we could keep doing it. It's slow moving in Congress. It always is, Roy. And so hopefully we can get something done there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And so we're patient with it and understand. And great things come out of waiting sometimes, many times.
Right. Well, I want to take, just say thank you. Thank you to you for joining me today, and, you know, sharing a little bit about Alex. He's an interesting young man, and we'll miss him. I know you miss him, and
Yes.
we want to remember him and everyone who serves on this special day. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And that's Roy Conrad, the father of Staff Sergeant Alexander Conrad. And we thank you and the best, and have a great Memorial Day as we remember all who gave their sacrifice for this country on this day. Thanks, Roy.
Thank you, sir.